All right, so he's coming to us for advice on whether his wife is tapping into a new parenting hack or if she's the worst parent on planet Earth.
When you need advice, come to Ben and Kelly. It's group therapy on 99.7 DJX.
If I had reverb in my voice, I would have given it.
You did.
I would have
That
given
was
it
impressive.
The reverb.
Okay, so it says, hey, Ben and Kelly, my wife has an idea that if our children are ever in danger, that they should swear.
Okay.
She believes nothing gets your attention more than a child saying a really bad word. She thinks it's more effective than yelling, help.
Mm-hmm.
So, all this week, when I've come home from work, my wife has been rehearsing with my 6-year-old daughter and 4-year-old son how to say the F word. I'm just worried that they won't get it and won't think to use it when they need to and will only use it when they shouldn't. Is what my wife is doing genius, or is it the worst parenting idea ever?
Okay, so yes, parenting is very personal, and what may work for one person, one family, one kid may not work for another person, another family, another kid. That being said, I think I don't dislike it.
You don't seriously?
I don't dislike it.
You don't see all of the different scenarios this can go sideways.
So I think that if it's more effective, like if I hear a little kid dropping an F-bomb, I'm looking.
Yeah, I'm looking to see where the parents are and shame them. Because why is their child's mouth so filthy?
But if they're in trouble, then you're looking and you're paying attention. So I think anything that gets somebody's attention, I think, is not a bad thing, especially if the kid's in danger.
Yelling help, I need help, is a really good thing to yell in that situation. Now, so you go to Facebook, Lori says, so when your children drop an F-bomb in front of their grandparents, will she have thought it was okay then?
I mean,
not a wise thing to teach them.
It's just a word.
Besides, I've seen kids that age walking around saying stuff like that on a normal basis, so I ignore it most of the time. Teach them to kick, scream, yell, fire, hit, punch, something like that if they are in danger. Teach them to cause a scene.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else. Like, he doesn't elaborate. He's not saying whether or not that's the only thing they're teaching them, or if they are teaching them to, like, elbow in the junk and kick, scratch, claw, scream, whatever.
I think that is the more important lesson. I think giving them a filthy vocabulary is probably not the best course of action.
Lauren brings up a good point. Why is the word help not enough these days?
Yes, it should be. Help is a universal word asking for assistance. And it can work in a lot of different situations.
All right. Well, let's see. 502-571-9970. You know, look, everybody's going to have an opinion. And I don't know if we're going to be able to come up with a definitive, yes, this is the new parenting hack, or no, she's the worst parent on the planet Earth.
Or maybe a better plan of action for if her kids are in danger. Carrie Ann from Two Ladies and Mop says, I think it's genius. I would definitely be looking and finding out what's up. I wish I had thought of this. So she is with you being on board with this parenting hack.
502-571-9970. How to say the F word if they're in trouble or if she's the worst parent on planet Earth.
Yeah, there's been a lot of opinions about this.
Well, which we knew. Because everybody has an opinion when it comes to parenting. And, you know, every parenting style is a little bit different.
You were kind of on board with this. Dawn said, I have no doubt if a 6 or 4-year-old yelled the F-bomb in public, everyone who could hear, would turn and look. I'm thinking it's kind of genius. Mm-hmm. Now, Melanie says that approach would probably work back in the 50s, not now. Too many kids cuss, disrespect their parents or anybody else, and that's the acceptable norm for kids to behave any way they want. Your wife isn't crazy, just a little naive.
I don't know if I agree with all that, but I see her point.
I think she's got a really good point. I think Vicky said that if I hear a child cuss, my thought is the parents need some classes in how to raise kids. So no to that. What's wrong with I'm being kidnapped or help me? That'll draw more attention before an F-bomb to actually help the child.
Yeah, another message says they repeatedly tell women not to yell for help, but to yell fire because no one comes for help anymore. Everybody comes for a fire. So, interesting. Andrew, the Love Doctor.
Well, I've got two boys. I like the idea. Whatever works for the parent is great, but when a kid's in trouble, yelling, kicking, screaming, biting, they do whatever they can to get someone's attention. They cause a scene. That's the go-to because people are going to look at a scene, obviously. So I've always taught my kids, if somebody tries to grab them, pull them, hit them, whatever, cause a scene, yell, scream, bite, kick, fight, and like their life depended on it, because sometimes it will depend on it.
Yeah.
It's I know we make fun of the F-bomb and stuff like that, but in a situation like that, whatever works to get somebody's attention, if their kid is in trouble, and like Kelly knows and Ben, you're going to do anything to make sure your kids are safe. So, I don't disagree with her. I just think that maybe there's a better choice of words there. I don't know.
Well, yeah, Amy was saying, I always told my kids, yell fire, or this is not my mommy, or this is not my daddy, if you're being abducted.
And you're causing a scene when you do that, which is correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Andrew, the Love Doctor. Thank you as always.
Keep all loving, my friends.
All right, see you, buddy.
Later.
Hey, Stephanie. So what is your thought?
Well, so I started kind of thinking about it as I'm a teacher, I guess kind of from a teacher perspective, because I've had some students use some bad words before, like
spicy
some
language.
Before. Yeah. And so I was just thinking, well, what if I had a student or like a parent call me and say, well, my kid came home and said so-and-so taught them this word. And they said their mom said it was okay or something like that. And, teaching them, and like teaching kids in general, like, oh, well, that's not an appropriate word to say and things like that. So I almost think probably not the best thing to teach your kids and just teach them to say help instead of a cuss word.
I think so too. Yeah. I think 1,000% that people need to be yelling out like what the situation is. Help. This is not my mommy. Help. This is not my daddy. I think that's, the biggest scenario I think people are worried about is, abduction.
Right.
And obviously if they're in a burning house or something, fire, run out of the house, call 911. Right. Like these are the things we need to be teaching.
Yes.
Thank you, Stephanie.
So Alyssa on Facebook, she says, I've got mixed feelings on this. Sometimes in stores, if a kid is tantruming, they'll yell things like, this isn't my mom or dad, or even help, which is true. We had another listener chime in with a similar situation, like, step kid kind of a situation. Yeah. Because of this, some adults do ignore the kid. There's been studies done that do support this to an extent. Some professionals in the field say that they need to teach their kids to yell fire instead. And that's even advised for adults to do in similar situations. But she, again, points out so many kids cuss nowadays. It's probably not going to get the kind of attention that you're going to need. So one tip safety experts suggest is calling on a specific person to help. Like, hey, you in the green hat, call the cops. I need help.
Oh.
Like try to look around, single somebody out and yell to them.
All right.
Yeah. And then Louise says, what will she say when they ask what that word means? Or if they think it means help, then they could ask a teacher for some F's with their work.
Well, I mean,
that's a valid point.
No, I mean,
if they're taught to yell the F word and they're thinking it's because I need help, they might at 4 and 6 years old get a little confused about when to use that.
Well, you can say it's a bad word and, it's only to be used.
But it's okay to use sometimes?
It's only to be used when you're in trouble or whatever,
Uh-huh.
So again, I don't think I'm swaying necessarily from not saying that, but I do agree that it needs to be more than just screaming and yelling. There needs to be a commotion. There needs to be...
I like fire. I like looking for someone specifically to yell at for help.
Sure. But I mean, if there's an actual fire, man, I'm swearing too.
Okay. There's a blanket fire.
I know, right?
Do you guys see that?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, I think we're kind of yes.
Are we landing on you? Are you giving permission for the 4 and the 6-year-old to drop the F-bombs?
I'm saying that I don't necessarily disagree with that, but
I feel like there's a better way.
I want there to be more than just saying the word.
I think there's too many kids knowing those words, and the fewer kids that we can keep those words out of their heads, I think the better.
But don't
yell
we make
fire, yell for help. Hey, you in the green jacket.
Yeah.
I need help. Call the cops.
All right.
Not my daddy, not my mommy. Only in extremes that, like, listen, if they're doing that because they're in a tantrum, super big trouble. Like, they only bring out that phrase if they have a stranger trying to take them.
Yeah, or if you really want that ice cream and your mom's not going to buy it.
No, that is not what we did. No.
Listen to me, kids. I know. It worked for me when I was little.
Don't listen to Uncle Ben.
It worked for me. All right, well, good luck. If you want to chime in, at Ben and Kelly Show on Facebook at Group Therapy.